Foxes and cats occasionally cross paths, especially in suburban areas where wildlife and pets share overlapping territories. This overlap has fueled persistent fears that foxes might pose a serious threat to pet cats, including the possibility of abduction. While the idea of a fox physically stealing a cat may sound dramatic, the reality is far more nuanced. Scientific studies, wildlife observations, and urban ecology research provide valuable insights into fox-cat interactions. Foxes, particularly red foxes, are opportunistic omnivores capable of eating anything from small mammals to berries and insects. Their diets primarily consist of rodents, rabbits, birds, insects, and occasionally scavenged human food from trash bins. Despite their adaptability, foxes are rarely considered dedicated predators of domestic cats in normal circumstances. Most interactions between foxes and cats end without conflict, with both animals preferring avoidance over confrontation. Cats, particularly adult ones, often match or exceed foxes in size, agility, and defensive weaponry like sharp claws. A healthy, territorial cat can easily intimidate or even injure a fox if cornered or provoked. Urban foxes, accustomed to living near people, tend to avoid unnecessary risks, including conflict with feisty pets. However, small kittens, elderly cats, or cats weakened by illness could theoretically be vulnerable to fox predation. Even in these cases, the term steal is misleading, as foxes are more likely to scavenge than actively hunt cats. Foxes rely heavily on opportunistic feeding, meaning they prefer easy meals like carrion, unattended food, or small prey. Scavenged remains of cats have occasionally been found at fox dens, but this does not confirm active predation. Most cases involve already deceased cats, roadkill victims, or cats killed by larger predators like dogs or coyotes. Foxes sometimes cache surplus food by carrying it to hidden locations, which may resemble stealing behavior. This caching instinct is deeply rooted in fox survival strategies, especially during seasons when food is scarce. If a fox found a deceased or injured cat, it might carry the body away to store for future meals. This instinctual caching behavior could easily be misinterpreted as deliberate cat theft by worried pet owners. Cameras monitoring urban foxes rarely capture footage of foxes actively attacking or stealing healthy domestic cats. In most cases, urban foxes and cats maintain a wary, mutual respect, keeping their distance when encountering each other. Foxes, like many wild predators, assess risk carefully before initiating any action against a potential threat. A defensive cat, hissing, arching its back, or swiping with claws, usually deters curious foxes immediately. Most urban foxes avoid direct confrontation, focusing instead on smaller prey like mice, rats, or unattended food scraps. However, foxes' willingness to enter yards and explore porches does contribute to the perception that they target pets. A fox exploring a yard at night might incidentally encounter an outdoor cat, but avoidance is the most common outcome. Kittens left outdoors, especially at night, are more vulnerable to predation from foxes, owls, and other urban predators. Foxes, being intelligent problem solvers, may occasionally investigate small animals but rarely pursue risky or combative prey. The relative scarcity of verified fox attacks on cats highlights how exaggerated this fear has become in urban mythology. In rural areas, where foxes face more competition for food, they may be slightly more daring in pursuing larger prey. However, in areas with abundant food sources, foxes show little interest in actively hunting cats. Data from wildlife rehabilitation centers and veterinary reports confirm that cat injuries from foxes are exceedingly rare. Most feline injuries attributed to wildlife encounters involve larger predators such as coyotes, dogs, or even raccoons. Foxes are far more likely to be scavengers than aggressors when it comes to cats and other similarly sized animals. This opportunistic feeding behavior helps foxes survive in human-dominated landscapes where natural prey is scarce. Foxes' fear of confrontation often outweighs any potential reward from attacking a territorial cat. Even if a fox did manage to catch a small kitten, successfully carrying it off would be difficult and risky. Adult foxes typically weigh between 6 and 15 pounds, meaning a full-grown cat represents a formidable opponent. Most foxes rely on quick ambush tactics for smaller prey, avoiding drawn-out struggles with animals capable of inflicting injury. Studies tracking urban fox movements reveal that they actively avoid areas frequented by aggressive neighborhood cats. Foxes, despite their adaptability, remain cautious animals that prefer minimal confrontation and low-risk food sources. There is no scientific evidence supporting the widespread belief that foxes routinely steal or abduct healthy cats. Reports of missing cats blamed on foxes are more often linked to cars, larger predators, or simple wandering behavior. Cats, especially unneutered males, frequently roam beyond their owner's awareness, sometimes for days or even weeks. The nocturnal overlap between foxes and cats contributes to the misconception that foxes are to blame for disappearances. Trail camera studies reveal that foxes and cats often share territories with surprisingly little conflict or overlap. Foxes sometimes visit cat feeding stations or porches, drawn to leftover kibble rather than the cats themselves. Cat food left outdoors can attract not only foxes but also raccoons, opossums, and even bears in some regions. If a fox is seen in a yard where a cat recently vanished, coincidence often fuels suspicion rather than evidence. Healthy adult cats pose enough risk to foxes that avoidance is almost always the fox's preferred strategy. Even when foxes have kits to feed, they focus on smaller, easier prey rather than picking fights with adult cats. Kittens left outdoors without supervision do face increased risks from foxes, owls, hawks, and other urban predators. Responsible pet owners can reduce risk by keeping cats indoors at night and supervising outdoor time. Foxes are curious and resourceful, but they are not motivated cat thieves stalking neighborhoods for pets. Their survival strategy relies on scavenging, opportunism, and cautious avoidance of larger or potentially dangerous prey. Most fox-cat interactions end in a tense standoff or mutual avoidance, not predation or pet theft. Wildlife experts recommend securing outdoor food sources, closing crawl spaces, and removing shelter sites to reduce fox visits. Educating the public about fox behavior helps dispel myths and fosters coexistence between wildlife and domestic pets. The idea of foxes stealing cats persists largely due to anecdotal reports rather than scientific data or documented cases. Understanding foxes as adaptable scavengers, not ruthless predators, helps reduce unnecessary fear and harmful misconceptions. Conservationists stress that foxes play vital roles in controlling rodent populations and balancing urban ecosystems. Demonizing foxes for behavior rooted in survival instinct overlooks their ecological importance and natural caution around cats. With proper pet management and wildlife awareness, foxes and cats can coexist peacefully in shared environments. While a fox could theoretically scavenge a deceased cat, it is neither common nor evidence of active predation. Foxes' curiosity and intelligence often lead to misunderstanding their intentions when they wander into human spaces. Ultimately, the science supports a balanced view. Foxes are opportunists, not feline kidnappers lurking in the shadows. By understanding and respecting both species' instincts, humans can foster safer, healthier environments for cats and wildlife alike.